Hi there, and thanks for being here at the channel. I'm Erin Lebax. One of the most common questions I get when I'm in live sessions with people across industries is how do I even start an email? Often just getting started can feel like the hardest part, I think. So today we're going to look at 4 steps you can take, 3 to 4. The second one is situational, and we'll get into that. 3 to 4 steps you can take to open your email, get it started. After these 4 steps, you may be done with the whole email, or you may have more to say afterwards, but this will get you going for sure. At the end, I'll give you 2 examples of all 4 steps in action. Let's get started. Okay, so step 1, your greeting. I can't tell you how often people in writing workshops tell me that they felt bad when they received an email and somebody didn't say hi. So if we have the question, do I have to have a greeting? I would say the answer is yes, because very, very often readers express to me problems with not having that there. And you don't want to start out your email with your reader feeling that way. So let's think about how to write a greeting. Which word are we going to choose? Hi, hey, yo, greetings, etc. Here's what to consider. What's your relationship with your reader? What do you know about them? What's your relationship show about how formal you should be? How to show respect, how familiar you can be if you know them better. Are they a formal person? Do they have a great belief in hierarchy? This is a cultural norm in some places and industries, but not others. So we're always thinking about the culture of that reader too, even their generation. So all of that in our mind, we would then pick from these examples, and I'll just share a few general strengths and weaknesses of these. You know, we've got hi, Erin. We're feeling polite but casual, informal. This is going to work pretty well if we already have met. I'll usually say hello, so-and-so if we haven't met before, or even dear. I won't say hey unless I know the person quite well. And if we're going back and forth often, then I might go to that point if we're that familiar. Some people will just put your name, comma, instead of hi and then your name. It's not a problem. In many cultures, it's considered formal and polite. But in other cultures, I think it can feel a little bit like, am I in trouble? Why no hi and just my name? Did I do something? So be careful, right? Like everything in writing, it's situational. Who's going to read this? Okay, so you're choosing your greeting based on decisions on these areas. Let's get into the next step. Step 2 is a maybe. It's going to be a situational choice, a decision for you to make as the writer. And that's actually true throughout writing, right? It's always about making a decision based on who will read it, what's our relationship with that person, and what is our goal. So let's also consider as part of that goal, what's the situation that we're in? Is there a situation that we have in common with the reader where there's something we need to bring up that's about a connection with them? In some cases, your email will say, hello, so-and-so, and then get right to the main point. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's not rude. There are just some situations where you may decide, I want to make a connection statement, an empathy statement, some way to show my reader I'm thinking about them as a person. This is important to me. I've been looking into the topic we have in common. I remember them, etc. And so some situations to consider where you might want to add a sentence at the top that does that empathy, that connection. If you have something in common that's happened recently, if there's a current event that you either have in common, a weather event, usually these days, right? Or that you live in a different region and you've been concerned about them with the weather event. Has there been a win for their company or team? Has there been a loss for us within the industry? And oh, it's too bad that we're still moving forward through this. Do you have a well wish to give or something to ask for an update on? So again, we don't always do this. Maybe you feel like, I don't need to connect with this reader. I talk to them almost every day, or I don't even know them well enough to do something like this. But it'll be yours to judge if one of these situations is going on where you think one of these is on your reader's mind and that it would be wise for you to connect with them in that way. So examples on the screen here, if you want to hit pause and have a read through, these are some different ways of expressing that connection. But the third step, we always need it. Okay, we always need to say, hey, why am I writing to you? Or more importantly for them, why am I receiving this? Why am I reading this? Think about yourself when you receive an email. What is going through your mind? For me, it's like, what is this? What's it for? Do I need to do something? And if so, when's my deadline and things like that. So first, of course, we need to know the point, the context. What is this all about? What are you trying to tell me? So a context sentence where you're saying, hey, here's what's up, here's why you're getting this email, you do want to think about a couple things ahead of time. And it's mostly there about how much the reader knows and wants to know, or often more importantly, does not want to know, does not need to know. Today, most readers, which is mostly all of us at work, we read each other's communication. Most readers are telling me they do not want to read more. They want to read less. And we can feel that ourselves, right? There's only so much information our brains can carry these busy days. And so we do want to be respectful to the reader. If they don't need to know something, we don't have to add it. Just because we know it, and even if we think it's cool, it doesn't mean that they need to know it in that email. I have to hold myself back often. I get excited. I want to tell people a bunch of things. Sometimes I have to think, you know what, Erin, you'll have a chance to tell them some of those later. It doesn't all have to be now. So if they already know it, don't say it again. If they need to know it, say it, right? And so some of this might include issues like when and where, why, what's happening, updates. So some examples, we're looking for feedback on these proposed website changes before going forward. Here's the situation, right? We're working on this thing. We actually want feedback before the next step. Something just to one person maybe. Please submit this form, hyperlinked, when you are ready to apply. I've given them action. I've given them the resource, which is actually my where, right? It's online, but it's kind of where information. Or our 3 finalists will participate in a town hall Friday via Zoom. So the context sentence tells the reader what is happening. Why am I getting this? But wait, doesn't this remind you of something? It reminds me of the main point sentence, right? You may have watched the videos about this before with my 3-step emailing process. I'll put a link up. But the main point sentence uses the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why, and it tells your reader what's the point of this email. So this is another way to think about it. You can think about you're giving a context sentence, what's the situation or context that called for this email, or that you're giving a main point sentence saying who, what, always, and often when, where, and why. Lastly, if you are looking for something in return from your reader, we really need to say that information clearly. This was not a strong area for me in the past. Instead of giving a call to action, I would give like a call to suggestion. Hey, this is happening. Maybe you're interested. We need to be more clear than that to respect our readers' time. To write a request, or when you're asking for action from your reader, you want to think about, what do I need to include? There's always a verb at play here. It's going to be in the command form, meaning do it, but you still want to choose a verb that's respectful. Maybe you're considering some of the other W's here, when, where, why. Maybe in some cases you're feeling like just saying your call to action with a strong verb would be too aggressive, and so you decide to put a please in front. Let's check out these examples. Apply through this link, hyperlinked. Please provide edits by Friday. Join us at 9 PT via Zoom, which has the link in it. Donate here for wildfire relief. So what we're getting in these examples are some of the W's, we're getting that command verb so we know what to do, and we're getting resources. Those links that I call optional information, in some cases you can go read more, or here's literally the place to do it. Here is the where. It's an electronic where. So again, if you're thinking, this reminds me of something else, I'll put the link again. We've got that video on the 3-step emailing process. It covers some of this, but it focuses also on the subject line, whereas here we have the greeting and other statements. But this, what we've talked about, a request, creating action, often we've called this a call to action before. What does the reader need to do? Our goal here is that when I see that first paragraph of my email that I get from you on my phone, I know right away what to do. Let's look at all of this in action as a set of these 4 steps. And we'll do this twice. This one is a little bit more formal and the next one is a little less formal. So here we have, hello, Dr. Anjari. I hope you've been enjoying being part of the new leadership cohort this year. We're collecting feedback from this year's participants to help inform next year's curriculum. Please complete the Emerging Leaders Survey by close of business Friday. Okay, so you'll see here I did choose to do an empathy statement. Here's why. I'm asking them for something about the leadership program, so why not extend my well wishes about that very program, right? Why not express, hey, I also care about your experience in it as well as your data. And so that was why I made that choice. I went with hello and a slightly more formal feeling because this is a professional situation where there's a cohort and perhaps I'm someone who facilitates or sets it up but doesn't know each person well. And then you'll see my command verb there is complete. I did add a please because again, I am asking for data that's going to help me in the future. Let's look at one more example before we wrap up. And here's our second example, a little less formal, probably implying that I know my reader a little better. Hi, Risa. How has community relations been enjoying the new building? That right there kind of shows Risa and I are working on the same campus, or at least know about each other's whereabouts, a little bit more of an intimate relationship to the extent that we at least know who each other is, and we've worked together enough to be more informal. Here in marketing, one of our goals this quarter is to connect with each department to learn more about their needs. That's the situation. I'm in marketing. We want to talk to y'all, right? We'd love it if you would join us for an online meet and greet to connect and learn about one another's work. So it's an invitation. That's why I used a we'd love it if you would, because I'm inviting them. They don't have to do it. But what we're seeing here is some more informal language that I think better reflects a meet and greet as well. So sometimes we're choosing our level of formality even based on the content, where the last one was an established official emerging leaders program, and this one we're calling a meet and greet on purpose to be more informal with one another, more casual, and so we want our email to match. All right, so thanks everybody. Try out these tips. Let me know in the comments how it's going for you.